And hello again to another episode of CBD Genie. My name is Matt.
And I'm Jonathan.
And today we have something a little special. We're interviewing Elliot from Evopure.
Yeah, it was great. We managed to catch up with Elliot earlier today to ask him a little bit more about the brand and how he's got the business to where it is now, and about the products as well.
So stay tuned, and here we go. And Elliot, hello. Thank you for joining us. Let's get started.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably as this whole market in the CBD is growing and evolving quite rapidly, what we're trying to do is trying to give people an idea of the people behind some of the brands, and actually, what is their story? How did they get into the CBD market and actually want to launch their own brand? So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on for starters. I think what you're doing is great with have the platform for brand owners like myself to be able to talk about the brand and hopefully reveal a little bit more about the people behind the brand. I guess we started Evopure back at the beginning of 2019, which seems like a long time ago now, especially in CBD years. Feels like every one CBD year is about 7 in normal times, but we started Everpure because we noticed like a growing community of people that wanted to live better later in life. And I know that might sound silly, but there was, a lot of my parents and the older generations in my family that were getting towards retirement age -10 maybe. And we're noticing they were taking on healthier like lifestyle decisions than even I was at early 20s, because they didn't want to necessarily go into later life and be hamstrung by whatever they were dealing with at the time, whether that's something as meaningless as poor sleep, for example. And we noticed that they saw supplements and CBD as a good tool to aid that healthy lifestyle. But when it came to supplements, and especially around CBD, and I'll get onto this as to why we started with CBD, is that there was, especially for the kind of old generation, there was a ton of confusion around how to use it, when to use it, the best type of product for them individually, as well as the quality of the products themselves. So I noticed, a lot of both my parents, my auntie and my grandparents were all taking CBD at this time before we started Everpure. And we noticed that there were a lot of companies that would kind of oversell and underdeliver. So they might sell the product and not really give good guidance after, or they might sell the product and it's, the quality of the product would change every time, which is, a problem, I guess, facing a lot of early industries is some kind of quality problems. But we saw an opportunity to found Everpure on the belief that customers ought to know what they're putting in their body and why. So we understand that there's kind of no magic product. There's no, and especially when it comes to like supplements and CBD, there's no kind of like silver bullet, and that it's a tool for a wider healthy lifestyle. So what we saw with our own experience is that what customers need from a CBD and supplement brand is something that's radically transparent. So they know that the product quality is good, and that's going from, at the time, and it's great that it's kind of normal practice now, but at the time, CBD products, it wasn't that normal practice to show your lab reports, independent lab reports at the time, so that customers, they should be assured of the quality of the product they're putting in their body. Coupled with that then is personalization. So obviously we're all very different people facing, with different diets and different genes and everything, and having something that's a bit more personalized based on pre-sales education, just as to what are you trying to achieve and what could help there, as well as having tailored recommendations, based on, what you're trying to achieve, even your age and your weight and stuff like that. And then finally, which is probably like one of the biggest pieces we've noticed since actually starting Everpure, is guidance after purchase as to how the products fit in with a wider healthy lifestyle. So that could be things from dosage calculator, so they can calculate their dosage of CBD based on their weight, complementary products that, outside of just CBD, other natural supplements that might help with them on their kind of like well-being journey, as well as kind of guidance on habits that can help them with what they're trying to achieve. Because I think one thing that we want to make really clear with Evopure when we're trying to sell to customers is that it's, this alone isn't going to just like be a silver bullet. It's, if it's alongside, uses a tool alongside other kind of healthy lifestyle decisions, then it can be a really powerful tool. So yeah, our kind of collaboration with thought leaders in certain space to be able to offer, consume like our customers guidance after that post purchase. So
Okay, that's good. So you came into the market in 2019,
yeah,
and it sounds like your inspiration to get into CBD was because you had family members already using CBD products, which had obviously not been something they'd been using for a great length of time, because in 2019 we were only 2 years into CBD actually being a legal commodity.
yeah.
What's your background? How what sort of position were you in where you could say, I'm going to launch a company developing CBD products?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think my background was very much from kind of a tech background, so very different to CBD itself. I think, like a lot of businesses, it came from really like a personal need as opposed to anything kind of like professionally. In that, especially my dad, for example, would take a CBD balm. He got in, he's a bit older now, got into cycling really heavily, and obviously with that you can get a lot of aches and pains on a daily basis, and got into CBD balm as a kind of like as part of helping that recovery process. And what I noticed was basically that we had every product would come and it would be slightly different, so there was no actual kind of like quality assurance on that product. And at the time, my business partner Tom, who's started kind of supplement brands before, he's got an agency where he helps supplement brands get started. He had a contact with a hemp farmer in Spain, so we knew that we could get straight to a quality source of CBD that could be fairly, very consistent as to each batch that was produced. And at the time, now that's not really much of a differentiator for CBD brand, because with FSA and everything like that, it's kind of expected, and it's good that it's come so far in those 3 years. But at the time, that was kind of, almost like a USP in itself, being able to produce like a consistent quality product, and have like independent lab reports to go alongside that.
Yeah, and it seems to be, I think, as the market is getting developed a little bit more, and people are becoming to probably ask more questions about quality and about provenance of the product. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? It's seeing it in a different way to just taking a vitamin or whatever. As you all know, a vitamin is not a vitamin, and not a vitamin. They are not all the same. But when it comes into CBD, it seems that actually it's even more important to really understand what you're taking, and are you taking something that it's promising, because the thing is, isn't it, you don't know what's gone into that sometimes.
Definitely. I think in the early stages when we started up, it seemed that the vast, Amazon CBD products had a really large, kind of chunk of the market. And this was at a time when technically you couldn't sell CBD products on Amazon. So you couldn't actually advertise it as CBD. People would say it was hemp oil with 20,000 milligrams of CBD in it. So we kind of saw this market where, and granted, seemingly quite a few other brands also saw the same opportunity, where a lot of people were buying their CBD from Amazon, where it was just, there was absolutely no clue whatsoever as to what kind of CBD that was in that, whether it was isolate or broad spectrum, whether the milligram amount that they were saying was in there was even near to being true. And they're also buying something that, wasn't even being advertised as CBD oil. So that was a big indicator for us when we first saw like the kind of market of CBD, that, there could be like a better option, really.
Yeah, and the standards. So, I mean, obviously, you've got the product range now into the balms, oils, and capsules. Is there a reason why you've got those sort of core products specifically, or is that just the start of a range you're looking to expand? Tell us a bit about the product portfolio.
Yeah, so I mean, we started with just the plain broad spectrum CBD oil and the plain broad spectrum CBD capsules, and we've kind of the Evopure promise to customers is one just on like the transparency of the CBD that we're putting in there, from lab reports to proof of origin and stuff like that, but also to only have naturally derived ingredients within our products. So that's kind of always barred us from things like gummies, because going back to that kind of mission of people should always know what they're putting in their body and why. We don't necessarily think, if you go on our product pages, we give really detailed breakdowns of what's in, what that ingredient is, and we think if you shine a light on necessarily sometimes what's in gummies, it's sometimes we're putting stuff in there that's not necessarily good for you. So that's kind of restricted us in some ways from certain CBD products, but also opened up other opportunities, which is the biggest one being our CBD oil blends, which are mixed with other natural ingredients to help in certain areas. So for example, like the sleep oil that we have, which is probably our most popular oil, being mixed with maca root to help improve sleep cycle, and having other, goes back to having products that are a little bit more personalized and tailored to the customer, I guess. So that's kind of always been the overarching mission, is to have proprietary products for a start, that are unique to Everpure, that if someone goes through the quiz and says that they want to improve, for example, sleep cycle, then we can offer something that matches that.
Right. And like you say, I think that sort of highlights the point, isn't it? Is that CBD by itself isn't necessarily this magic bullet, but actually putting it with the right things that actually are complementary to the outcome you want to achieve means that it is quite versatile, isn't it? So you can use the CBD partly with other ingredients that are more sleep oriented, but you can mix them with other ingredients and you get a different sort of outcome from it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it goes back to the kind of personalization piece, and we see that in wider supplement industry as well, is that there's a real movement now towards the kind of monthly supplement regime being more personalized to the consumer, as opposed to just one blanket product that is kind of sold under an umbrella of for an umbrella of different reasons. And yeah, ultimately that's where we're always kind of like trying to get to.
And is there any, I mean, obviously without giving any sort of secrets, have you got plans to develop other product lines? Do you see other things that might be complementary to what you're already doing?
Yeah, so we're actually developing some non-CBD related products, which are kind of like powdered supplement, water soluble powdered supplement blends. The first one of which hopefully launching at the end of this month / beginning of October. And again, that's kind of like all natural product that you can stir into your glass of water half an hour before going to bed, and it's aimed at helping you improve your sleep cycle, because it's got the types of magnesium, apigenin, and some other ingredients in there that have kind of been tested to do so, which again, as we build out that powdered supplement range, will always go along to helping with certain well-being goals of our customers, a big one being sleep, and that's why we've started with that one.
Right.
Do you think you'll ever circle back to offering the teas? Because I know you stopped offering the teas, and I was a little disappointed because I was quite enjoying those.
Yeah, it's a real shame that we've had to kind of pause the teas, and that we can go on to it in terms of some of the limitations of the CBD market, but that was purely just down to we were determined with that it had to be an organic hemp, and just where we got it from, where we were getting it from in Europe, it just became so inordinately expensive with everything now that's going on with inflation, and now also with the pound not doing great, that it didn't it didn't make sense. It was just like it would have been, we were just priced out of that kind of CBD tea market. But yeah, we do definitely want to try and get back into that at some point, because we got really good feedback on that product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like a notification when that happens.
So, I mean, obviously, the within the CBD market, there always seems to be this split between an audience who are very informed and know that what they're doing, and then those who are yet to sort of even know what it is or sort of stand for. How do you sort of see the market evolving, and what do you think are some of the barriers that you're facing right now in terms of growing the brand, growing the sales side of it?
Yeah, I think, like I said, there's still, I think people are becoming a lot more educated on CBD, and there's some journalists out there that are doing really well to kind of help destigmatize CBD, and then also medicinal cannabis as well. So I think that the tide is slowly turning in terms of the opinion on that. Some of the market barriers that are facing CBD at the moment are part of the reason, for example, why we want to offer not just CBD products, because you can be quite hamstrung by things like payment provider. For us is a really big one. We're blocked from a lot of the major payment providers, which means you're left with a pretty small pool of providers that maybe, because they know you have to use them, aren't as incentivized to offer a fair deal. Let's put it that way. I think now with the FSA regulation coming in and novel foods regulation, the poor quality issues are definitely not as much of an issue as they were 2 years ago, even. And hopefully, as that comes through and kind of like helps set a bar, then it will encourage payment providers to start accepting CBD, as well as we're hamstrung by not being able to use advertising platforms necessarily on Facebook, Google, YouTube. So I think a lot for the CBD companies that just do e-commerce. There's a lot of things that can be done and can be improved. And hopefully with this novel foods regulation is getting there.
Do you see Evopure moving forward as being fundamentally a CBD company, or having based on what you've just said? Do you think that there's a much wider range of products that you ultimately will be offering, and CBD will just be a product line within that?
I think, yeah, it's a good question. I think we really want to move towards almost like a service, as opposed to just being a product company, where that includes like pre-sales, having like detailed questionnaires where you can find something personalized to you, and then right through to post-sales, where we can offer you video content on, okay, well, if you're looking to improve your sleep, then we've got a half an hour interview with this sleep expert that gives you like top 5 habits to help improve your sleep, outside of just taking CBD as a tool. So I'm not even sure if it's a question between CBD and supplements. It's almost whether we're a product or more of a service going forward. But I think it's anecdotally, and it's more widely accepted that CBD is a really powerful product. So it'll always be a really big part of Evopure.
But it's very interesting, and I noticed you referenced it a couple of times, in that CBD is a tool, and I think that's a really good way of actually sort of describing it to other people, isn't it? Rather than thinking it's, oh, I take this tablet, I take this oil, and I get the outcome. It's a tool in part of a bigger picture to achieve that outcome, and I think that's probably a more, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit more honest and open, actually, understanding of what it is. It goes back to, you've said it there, it's not that silver bullet. It's understanding that it's not a one-time pop the pill, get the result.
Well, no, I mean, it's just said something I didn't know, and is actually interesting, I think, in that you're talking about Evopure becoming, sounds almost like a sort of consultation service built around people's individual health requirements, and then obviously seeing what is best to fit their requirements, and CBD is just going to be a part of that. But yeah, seeing yourself as a service-based company as well as one offering a product to complement the service, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, and I think that's the key as to why we started Evopure, is because, like I said, it is a powerful tool, but it's a tool as a part of a wider toolbox. And when it comes to CBD and supplements, there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of like over promising in some cases, and that's why we kind of want to be honest to start with, to say that this isn't a silver bullet. We know that CBD and kind of like those products can have really powerful kind of like well-being outcomes, but it's part of other decisions you can make to move towards like a healthier lifestyle. Yeah.
Superb.
Excellent.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Fascinating stuff. I think we always feel like whoever we speak to, we're learning more on that journey. So thanks for your info and insights in the market, and good luck with the products and the brand.
Yeah. Until next
Great.
time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I hope you found that interesting, and we look forward to catching up with Elliot again in the future sometime.
Yes, and it would be fantastic if you could subscribe, give us a like, and then you'll be notified next time we drop another video. So until next time, cheerio.
See you then.